folks. Welcome back to the Iowa Chill Show. It is September 16th. I am Nathan Creeps, joined by my co-host, Bryce Bortscheller. And for all you ladies out there that have been looking to hunt and secure Bryce Bortscheller's heart, good luck. It's over. My man is
Seatbelt.
he's officially off the market. Congratulations to you and Darian. What a
Thank you, sir.
magical trip to Utah. I want to hear all about this.
Thank you, sir. Feels very good to be a lockdown man. I knew it was coming eventually. I didn't ever think that I'd go single my whole life, but when you actually get on that knee and propose, it's kind of a crazy feeling.
It's a weird moment.
It's a weird moment. I didn't know how I was going to feel, and everyone kept asking, like, "Are you going to be nervous? Are you going to be this and that?" And I'm like, "No, not really." Like, we've been dating for 4 years, and I was nervous. I was nervous when it actually came down to it.
So you did it on a mountain.
Yep.
Wait, okay. You knew. Give me the step. The walkthrough.
Okay, yeah, we got to Salt Lake, like I said, and I had no idea when I was actually going to do it, but we had a hike planned. Yeah, so I just knew I was going to do it in Utah.
Going on the wing.
Yeah, and we had decided to do a hike on Monday, which we had no idea what this hike was even about. Like even her sister, and we start going, and I gave the ring to Scott, business partner, now known
That
as
is a bold move.
Yep, he's now known as the Pack Mule. And this hike is like 8 miles long, and we had no idea. So we get to the top. Darian, my beautiful fiance, bride to be, strawberry faced. We're out of water at this point, and she had just opened a beef stick. Starts chewing on the beef stick, and I'm like, well, better now than never. Get down on one knee, give a little spiel, say, will you be my bride? And her first words are, you couldn't have waited until my beef stick was gone?
That sounds just like an Instagram reel I saw a couple of months ago. And these two are on the edge of a cliff, and the photographer is on a different cliff, but a clear shot at him. And as soon as he proposes, she turns and finds the camera and yells, "Why? I'm in sweatpants!" Yells at the
Yeah. I mean, it's 100% that. She had said, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't need to have a bunch of family or friends or, a super done up thing. But the one thing was that she did want to have her outfit ready, and she would have preferred to have makeup on. I didn't listen to that part. I thought that the scenery and just
you can't do that. How are you supposed to surprise it when you do it that way?
No, and
wear your best clothes. And if I told Madison that, she'd be like, "Oh, you're proposing to me."
Right. It's like, let's go to a dinner, and then we'll go on a little walk, and you better be wearing all the right stuff because you told me to. Like, she would have seen that coming. So I went the different route, and I'm glad I did.
Yep.
It was an exhausting hike. I mean, I think we ended up climbing 2,200 feet, so just over a mile in height. And then, like I said, it was an 8-mile hike. So we were dead. It actually took us like a day to process, like, oh shit, we're actually married. We're going to get married here. So
yeah. It's like, it's just a weird state, man.
Mm-hmm.
You got it done with, though. That's a
got
big
it done
step.
with.
It's got to get it fucking done with.
And we had the best trip. So yeah, spent 3
You
days
guys went for a little ATV riding.
3 days in Salt Lake. Then, like I said last pod, we went down to Salina area, which gets a little bit more rocky, red dirtish. And her aunt and uncle have ATVs. So we were going through the mountains and got a lot of cool pics, and even brought you back some red dirt as you requested. So
yes, I
can't wait to get souvenirs for you.
I can't wait to get a hold of this red dirt that's in Scotty's possession. Scotty had the ring. Now he's got the red dirt.
Yep. He is the Pack Mule.
I need to get a hold of that. So when you guys go to Salt Lake, do you actually ever see the lake?
Yeah. So we actually stayed 30 minutes outside of Salt Lake City in a town called Tooele, spelled like Thule. And you drive right past the Salt Flats. And it was kind of cool. When we got to the summit of where we got engaged, you could actually see the city and the Salt Flats in the background. So you see, like, mountaintop zenith of all these peaks, and then you all the way through, you can see the Salt Flats. And something they don't talk about very much is that the Salt Flats sound a lot like, or smell a lot like, sulfur. So like that rotten egg smell. Ooh. And apparently you don't really want to swim.
I was going to see if you've ever gotten in the lake.
No, like I said, we didn't really know. we didn't really have a plan when we were out there. It was either going to be a hike later in the week, earlier in the week. We ended up doing like 3 or 4. But one of the days we did talk about going to the Salt Lake, and the locals, the gals that we went with, said that that's probably not the best way to spend your time because it kind of stinks and you get like really dry.
Oh, that's good advice then. Uh, whether or not you're back, I felt you guys were in Utah for 2 years.
It felt like a
The
year. I mean,
longest I've ever seen someone go outside of state. That's crazy.
yeah, typical Midwestern fashion. Drove out there instead of flew, so it took
Uh,
an extra 2 days. And I probably won't do that again. It was
nope.
brutal. Um,
Yep.
yeah, feels good to be back. Honestly, like it was 90 degrees when we stopped at the In-N-Out in Denver, and it was the perfect dry heat. And we get back here, even like this morning, it's like 72 degrees, but it feels like 85. I'm already kind of
Yeah.
missing the mountains a little bit.
Hmm. Well, we're glad to have you back, and again, congratulations to you and Darian. I held down the fort here in Iowa. I didn't do a whole lot besides watch a little football. I did go to the new Beetlejuice movie. Have you ever seen the
Oh,
first
did you?
one?
I did. Yeah, I
I've never seen
hadn't
the
seen it
first one.
until last year. How was the new one?
So I've never seen the first one, so I didn't know what I was getting
Okay.
myself into. I'm trying not to spoil this for people, but not what I expected. I had no
Yeah.
idea what I was walking into this Beetlejuice movie.
Is it
Very
still Michael
gory.
Keaton?
Yeah,
Okay.
still Michael Keaton. And then the one of the girl, the head girl was like the Will Byers' mom from
Mhm.
Stranger
Mhm.
Things.
Yep.
So I don't know, very weird. Not what I thought it was actually supposed to be like a horror thing. And then we get to the theater and a bunch of little kids walk in, and
Mhm.
I'm asking, like, what are these kids doing here? I thought we are gonna see some shit. She's like, no, it's like PG-13 or something like that. So I had no idea, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's good.
the first one is definitely a kids movie. I mean, I don't know about kids movie, but you could, yeah, you'd show it to your preteens, like early teens, and it'd be fun. It's fun for me because it just reminds me of like that era of like '90s film where you'd like watch like a Scooby Doo or something, and then see like Beetlejuice or like Air Bud.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's good. I think you should watch it. I
It's
think we got
definitely
that
out
on the
there.
list.
The producer director is definitely out there.
One thing that's a
Right.
lot of fun about having a significant other is that a lot of times you get shown movies that you maybe didn't watch as a kid, and like that's something that we've been doing every holiday, like all the Christmas, Halloween movies. So I've seen a
Uh-huh.
lot more of those in the last couple of years.
God, speaking of that, I already feel like Halloween's over and we're already getting into Christmas. You
Yeah.
know how, like, like Halloween, we're seeing reels of Halloween maybe a month ago. Now I feel like Halloween's already happened, and I'm already on the Christmas talk, Christmas reels.
Oh
And
yeah.
Madison just went and bought a shit ton of stuff at Hobby Lobby because they got like a 50% sale off for everything. But is that you feeling that way?
Oh, same way. Yeah. It's almost like the department stores. My feed is built like Walmart. Like
See,
in July, I'm getting Halloween, and now I'm getting Christmas.
I love it, but at the same time, I hate it because I feel like I can't enjoy it because by the time it gets here,
Yeah.
I'm sick of it.
Hmm.
I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Let's get on to the next one.
Yeah.
So it's just
Yeah.
I
100%.
can never catch up to the hype.
That's one thing. The first thing I noticed when we got back is that it's starting to smell like fall. It's like let me enjoy Halloween season for a minute.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Bryce, let's hop in a little Iowa news here. We got an
All right.
elk spotted.
Yeah.
Apparently, this is huge news. I Have you heard about this elk spotted in Iowa City?
No, I spent about an hour a day on my phone, so I missed a lot of stuff. I saw that people are eating cats in Ohio and that elk are
Yep.
in Iowa, but I don't know a lot of details about it.
Either do I. I just know people are freaking out. It's super rare, I guess. But what it makes me think of is the Great Mountain Lion era. Do you remember that back in like
Mm-hmm.
2014 or
Mm-hmm.
13 when mountain lions were being spotted all throughout the state?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, every couple of years it feels like. I know that on the Iowa Chill main pages, there's been mountain lions the last couple of years, and like even maybe 2 years ago, I feel like there was 2 or 3 bears, like black or brown, yeah, black bears.
There's always a story. Cadolian, remember Cadolian?
Mm-hmm.
He was at country club and Algona, and he swore he saw a mountain lion out in the pasture while he was golfing. All I'm saying is that everybody knew somebody that saw a
Oh
mountain
yeah,
lion.
I don't know anybody personally, but they always
Oh, you
know
don't?
somebody. No,
Uh huh.
but I know somebody that's knows somebody that's seen one.
So that's what makes me think of it as Iowa becoming more like we got a ghost in the back
Yeah,
room.
it
As
is
Iowa
Halloween
become more
season.
like this, is this going to be a common thing? We're going to see more elk. What else? We're going to see moose here in 5 years. They've been getting their way
Yeah,
down here.
I don't know why that is, and I don't even have a good explanation. I feel like Like if you see one black bear and one elk, why don't you see more of them? Like where's that one guy coming from?
Uh-huh. I wanna know
Yeah, I
what
don't
kind
know.
of journey they had to
It,
get to Iowa.
so we were just in rattlesnake country, and something I didn't really know until really looking at the Iowa Chill stories is that there's places in Iowa that have rattlesnakes too. I think there's actually like native rattlesnakes in like southwest Iowa, I think.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it is a trend. Maybe we'll just start getting more exotic animals. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, it spice up Iowa a little bit for sure. One thing that's always consistent with Iowa seems to be some weather, especially this year. Reed Timmer has predicted a severe weather for central western Iowa during September 28th through the 30th. He's going to say there's going to be at least 10 to 15 tornadoes.
I know.
It's
I
bad.
know. Reed Timmer's pumped about that. He might even just be saying that just because he hopes that's going to happen.
Uh,
That guy's crazy.
if you know Reed, it's definitely the one thing about Reed is I've been following Reed forever. I love Reed. He is my favorite storm chaser out there. He's crazy. I swear to God. So I'm always when he's predicting these big storms, like, oh, I'm going to be in Cedar Falls, Iowa today. And, I'm getting super excited. I'm like, oh, he's right where I'm going to be. I'm going to see some awesome weather. All of a sudden, I'll refresh my page. I'm in Sioux City in a tornado. You just
Yeah.
it just appears right to where the action is somehow, some way, even if it's 4
hmm
hours away from where he was previously 20 minutes ago.
Yeah. He's amazing. And I didn't realize. I thought he was actually an Iowa guy until I looked into him this spring. And he's some other Midwestern state. But yeah, he's down in Oklahoma, Texas. All of a sudden, he's just where that storm's at. Might be
Uh-huh.
one of the best to ever do it.
So just like that, we thought maybe the storm season was over. It's got one last sucker punch in it for
And I think we
again.
already didn't we already set the record for biggest tornado
That's
and most ever.
yeah. Uh-huh. I God, we were we all I know is that we were leading the country in tornadoes at one point during that crazy stretch. We haven't had anything for what, maybe a month and a half. But again, it's going to be in the central slash western part of the state where that portion of the state has been getting absolutely drilled this year.
Yeah, I think we're still leading last time we checked, but that's probably been months ago. Cool. I'm down for it. I don't want to see damage to anyone's home or anything. We've had plenty of that, but it's always kind of fun to watch the storm. I know that you have a terrible time actually getting
Yeah.
with your own two eyes to see the storm, but
Yep. I'm a dome. Wherever I'm at, you are the safest person in the world if you're within a 50-mile radius of me.
yeah.
It's unreal. I've been documenting it for years on Twitter. I've been showing all my coworkers that people convinced that I am the dome. And there's no doubt in my mind that I am the dome. Right. So we're going to start a new segment this for these podcasts. We're just going to be drilling you with an Iowa fact of the
Cool.
week.
Yeah, I love that.
I got an Iowa fact for you. I actually got two Iowa facts for you because one happens to align with the exact date today. The first one is, did you know that Fort Dodge was built to mimic Chicago? Therefore, they call it Little Chicago.
I had no idea.
And that if you're Fort Dodge, that's the absolute last thing you want. And boy, did that reputation kind of build into it on the dark side.
It's like you got all the bad things of Chicago and none of the good stuff. That's so unfortunate.
Why would you want that?
I don't know.
Why would
I
so
mean, yeah,
quick
amazing.
news? Yeah. And then on this date in 1881, Bryce, a town in Iowa received over 4 inches of snow. So we're talking September 16th, 1881, got hit with 4 inches of snow. What town do you think that is?
That feels like a Boyden Hole stat.
That's not a bad bet. It's Algona,
Okay.
actually.
So
Yeah.
kind of still north central
Posted
though.
posted from the National Weather Service. So interesting for that. And 4 inches of snow on September 16th. We're definitely not going to be having that. We got tornadoes on the way here in 2 weeks, but you never
Cool.
know. Maybe if that
Yeah, you
storm
never
hits,
know with
we
this
will.
climate change. Those climate change people tell you that it's going to happen. Crazy. Wouldn't have guessed. My guess would have been earliest, like maybe first week of October or something. That's crazy.
It reminds me of the time, I think it was our senior year, 2014. We got like 13 inches of snow like a
In
week
May.
before we graduated.
hmm
It was unbelievable. And then the next day was just gone. It
Yeah.
was like
So we
75 and
hmm
we had a
yep
snow day. I remember that.
we have a list coming up at the end of here with what best town celebrations.
Uh-huh.
We had a town celebration get snowed out.
Really?
Pella Tulip time.
Oh, was it that
hmm
storm is what
It
got
was
it?
that year.
in 2014. Everyone seems to remember that year. One of my favorite storms ever.
Hmm.
Unexpected snow day. Then a couple days later, I graduated.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Rice, let's go ahead and just move into the Iowa Troy game reaction here.
All right.
I You should catch a lot of this.
Yeah, I had to have once again YouTube TV going in the car. Can't believe it's this day that I missed 2 college football Saturdays, but I watched most of it. I did miss
You need to
up
get out of that car,
until
boy. It's bad luck
yeah,
when you're
I
watching
know.
on YouTube TV. Jesus.
I know. Here's where I need you to fill in the blanks here. I look at Gamecast while we were in the mountains and I couldn't stream it, that we were down by 3 points or 4 points.
Yeah, halftime score was 14-10. Troy, and these weird teams always give Iowa a little bit trouble, and I kind of expected it to have a little trouble here moving forward. But the biggest thing out of this game is again my concerns for the defense. We gave up two 60-yard touchdown plays. Iowa now leads the country in 60-yard plus touchdown plays given
That's
up.
not a good stat to lead.
That when you come from for the last 5 years of a top five defense every single year, and now all of a sudden you got the most vulnerable stat in college football. And that's what we talked about last week, the Iowa State. When Iowa State just easy main two plays, go right down the field goal range. Had the one play the Jaden Higgins for the 70-yard touchdown pass. That is absolutely the last thing we need to see from Iowa football right
Last thing you
now.
need to see, and it's also the last thing you would expect. I think, like in our last 2 episodes, we've talked about how you can almost expect that a team's not going to throw all over you, and it really was that way until the last 6 quarters. I You just can't be losing to a team like Troy at halftime, let alone let them score a total of 21 points. So,
Yeah,
like, I mean, I missed a lot of what happened. I know that either which way, we're not covering the spread, so I missed that bet last week. But what's going on with the D?
it's not just the defense, but it's the special teams. The special teams gave a 70-yard punt return for a touchdown.
Right.
And so that right are two biggest things we've been leaning on for the last decade has been our special teams and our defense. Obviously losing Cooper DeJean and Torrey Taylor. Torrey Taylor, the more I think about it, is probably the best college football punter ever of all time.
Yeah.
And maybe a year ago I could have said that and maybe kind of giggled about it. No, I'm
Dead
freaking dead
serious.
serious about it now. Yeah, I mean, he's already transitioned over the 2 games over there in Chicago. So just not having that, it's making such a huge impact.
Hmm.
I mean, we have Iowa, we have no security blanket right now. That's why if we're going to an Ohio State game, even like 2 years ago, I felt okay about it just because I knew what we're going to give our special teams and defense. This year, we should be scared fucking shitless going to
Oh,
Columbus.
I'm terrified because it seems like right now we don't have an identity. We're putting up more points than ever, which is good. More points than ever, as in like the last 4 or 5 years. Um, but that's not necessarily going to matter. It's not like we're scoring like 35 points because Cade's dropping dimes and Caleb's running for 150 and a touchdown. It's like, yeah, Caleb's running great, and I'm pumped about what I'm seeing from the run game, but I don't know how that's going to hold up against serious competition. Makes
Right.
me
And
nervous.
again, we could be overreacting a little bit, but it's a serious thought and concern to be had right now. The defense and special teams. I trust that LeVar Woods and Kirk and we'll get everything. And Phil Parker will make the needed adjustments to feel better about this going into Big Ten conference play, leading up with Minnesota. But before we get out of the game, I do want to highlight Caleb Johnson.
Mm.
Has been about damn near the only bright spot for Iowa right now,
I
leading the
think,
country with 479 yards, six
yeah,
touchdowns. That's only through 2.5 games because of his first half suspension, week
yeah,
one versus Illinois State.
yeah. He didn't even play that half, and yeah, leading the nation is pretty cool. He's fun to watch. One of those guys that's both shifty, got good speed, but also like just tough to bring down. Like I said, I'm very excited about that part of the game. I'm really nervous when you play even teams getting into the Big Ten schedule. Like, how much is that going to hold up when you're so one dimensional and relying on that guy? But for now, it's been a blast to watch him play.
Yeah. And like you said just a little bit ago, going into week 4 versus Minnesota, I feel like Iowa doesn't have an identity right now, really. And that's uncharted territory for us fans. It
It's
really
been a long
is.
time since you've actually been worried about somebody airmailing on that Hawkeye defense. And I haven't watched a lot of Minnesota this year. I know that they're not picked to finish like top 5 in the conference, I don't think. But, like it's one of those games where we come into their stadium and we have something to prove from last year. Obviously, that's going to be a big headline, but um, it's not like we're just cruising right through these first 3 games. It's going to be a tough one.
No, this is an absolute must-win position for Iowa heading up to Twin Cities on a night game at 6:30 in the Twin Cities. I can't wait for this game. I think this is going to be a hell of a game. Huge rivalry, a lot of beef built up from last year. Cooper DeJean's waved off punt return for the win. Minnesota, they're very similar to Iowa right now. 2-1. Their losses to their best non-conference opponent for that year's schedule, and they're both on last-second field goals. Minnesota missed the game-winning field goal. Iowa gave up a 54-yarder against Iowa State field goals. They both lose by 2 points. And then Minnesota goes on the route Rhode Island 48-0, and then they beat Nevada. I know those two teams are your top tier teams, but go out to shut them out 48-0, 27-0. I think Minnesota's kind of clicking right now. The spread is favored Iowa by 4 points right now, or 3.5 or something like that.
Yeah, I think I saw DraftKings around 3.5. Yeah.
I God, I think we beat them just because of what the hell happened last year. And that's honestly the only thing I can go off of. I mean, we've owned the series, but I still don't know what team we're going to get up there in the Twin Cities. I hope by the 4th game of the year, things have settled in with offense, defense, special teams. We're a little more regrouped, a little more tightened up on some mistakes, and we go and take care of our little brother up north.
I hope so. We owned PJ Fleck for the better part of his career, and obviously they got one finally last year. We have something to prove. The only thing I've seen from Minnesota is that North Carolina game. I think that first Thursday of week 1, and they looked horrible. I know that they probably should have made that field goal and ended up with a W, but they did not look great, and I don't think that's a juggernaut of a North Carolina team either. So
I think
I really
yeah. Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I think it's okay top of their conference, but that's ACC. It's not saying a whole lot. I
Right.
know they've been putting up points a lot this last couple of years, so that to me, seeing them Minnesota only give up 19 points and then skunk their next 2 opponents shows me that Minnesota has a traditionally good defense, and they have. And
Yep.
I think we're gonna get the same thing from Minnesota this year. I think it's gonna be an ugly ass game again, unfortunately, like last year. Hopefully, we need Caleb Johnson to break through a couple of breakaway plays for a 30, 40, 50-yard run, and then get into the passing game. I mean, Minnesota's gonna sell out on the run at some
Yep.
point.
That's what I'm really worried about. I think that when you get into the meat of the schedule with the Big Ten, you're going to get a lot of attention on Caleb unless we open up the offense a little bit. Answer me this. Do you think we'll see much of Brendan Sullivan?
I liked what we saw in the goal line from last
Hmm.
week when, I should take that back. The red zone is when Brendan Sullivan would come in because he brings that dual threat
Hmm.
in, and which is sad because I thought Cade would have a little bit of that in him. I think his injuries got him so mind boggled on his leg. Doesn't even want to attempt to run anymore. But that's fine. Give me Brendan Sullivan, a good 6'4", 220-pound frame that could run and throw the ball, and that is for the defense, that it makes you think so much more of what's going to happen on this play. You're not
Hmm.
going to solely blitz Cade like you would in Brendan Sullivan because he can beat you with his legs and he can make that weird little shovel pass for 3 or 4 yards to get into the end zone. It adds another opportunity for Iowa to score, and that's what Iowa needed more than anything, especially against Iowa State.
Big time. What? So, in your estimation, how many snaps do you think he gets?
Give me Brendan Sullivan at 6 snaps against
I think that's
Minnesota.
fair. I don't think that traditionally Kirk doesn't waver from his number one guy. So I would expect very little. But shoot, yeah, like you said, if you can get a little dual threat and shake up, almost like how the Wildcat was so big 10, 15 years ago, like I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of Sullivan there.
It reminds me of a Tim Tebow
Hmm.
when Chris Leak was the quarterback. They would bring Tebow in on the red zone, and because he's a guy
Good
who could
call.
run
Yep.
right down the throw, or you can make that weird last second pass.
Yeah,
So,
that jump pass was Tebow's
uh-huh.
thing. Shoot, I mean that's kind of what we saw, right? It was kind of a shovel from Sullivan
Yeah,
to I forget who,
he
but
could have ran it in. I don't know what the hell he was doing, but he
yeah,
did.
pretty much anybody would have
Whatever.
scored there. But
So I mean, it's good to see. It's refreshing. Hopefully, it's not just something you see that happen against shitty little teams that they weren't scared to try it against. If you make that consistent, I liked it. I thought like I said, it just opens up the playbook, and that's what Iowa needs more than ever right now in a struggling red zone team. So I again, I'm pumped up for this game. I think this is a huge game. You have to win this game. You lose this game, you're going 0-1 into your bye week, likely 0-2 versus Ohio State. And just like that, the Hawks are 2-3.
Mhm.
That's not where you want to be.
My final sound off, and I was thinking about this on the drive home because I had 16 hours to think, but I'm ready for the Big Ten schedule. I can't stand the non-conference games that get scheduled. You know what I love is when an Alabama goes to Camp Randall. It's like I missed horribly on that bet. I thought Wisconsin would cover. I thought they'd be pumped for that game. They probably were. They're probably just that outmatched. They got blown
Uh-huh.
out. I would so much rather Iowa get blown out by Bama or Georgia or somebody like that in the early season than like fight with Troy to tooth and nail to squeak out a 17-point victory. I'm so sick of that week scheduling.
I am too. Now would I schedule Alabama? Probably not. Maybe can up Troy to like a California or Arizona type of team. Teams that's actually beatable but challenging. That's gonna test you. That's what I would like to see.
Yeah, I'm sick of that mid-major conference FCS type game. I don't mind one like starter FCS, Arkansas State or something um, like that right away at the beginning of the season. Just get the rust off. But I can't be watching that 3 or 4 weeks in.
Yeah, you just don't learn anything from it. All you do is get pissed off, especially if you're an Iowa fan, looking seeing us play like shit and then barely scraping out those wins. But nevertheless, Iowa is 2-1 headed into Minnesota for the night game in the Twin Cities. Iowa State has Arkansas State coming to town. What I know about these Arkansas State, I think they're the Wolves or something like that. Only lost by 10 to Michigan.
Hmm.
It's probably I know Michigan definitely hasn't looked as sharp as we
No,
probably thought they were going to be.
that was definitely the biggest red flag for Michigan. Like if you were watching that game, you probably realized that you no longer have the national champ contenders. You have the post Harbaugh Michigan Wolverines. Yeah, either way, Arkansas State held in there, and I think a lot of Iowa State fans are probably overlooking this game because for them it's your last one before you get into the Big 12. It could be tougher than they think.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you should learn from Iowa. Don't overlook any freaking opponents.
Hmm.
My God. And I think Iowa State does come out and take care of them. I think Iowa State just has the playmakers that Iowa doesn't. And that's why Iowa football does not have the identity that I was hoping for at the beginning. I thought we were going to have Caleb Brown breakout year. We do have Caleb Johnson. I will give him that. But Iowa State's got the receivers that can make that 70-yard touchdown pass and just pit away teams like these.
It's a little bit there's times when I'm watching the Hawkeyes and I'm like, huge play, maybe a huge run by Caleb Johnson. If they don't get in the end zone, I get really worried. Whereas on the flip side, Iowa State, when they have that big play, it feels like that big play is leading directly to a touchdown. And like, if there's one thing that helps you in these kind of games where you're really supposed to win, it's just putting the ball in the end zone when you're supposed to. Like if you strung together a nice little drive or had that big play and you finish off with 6, feels like you're gonna put those guys away.
Yeah, no surprise to hear Iowa State receivers have been the focal point for Iowa
Hmm.
State's offense this year. I do look to see Abu Sama break out a little bit of his running game here against Arkansas State, really get his feet going. And like I said, he was a Big 12 freshman in the last year. It'd be good to see his athleticism and get for over 100 yards and maybe a couple touchdowns against Arkansas State. That'll
Cyclones are
push.
still riding that high. I think that they have probably 10 wins in the schedule. They don't play a ranked opponent now until the last 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, yeah. Iowa State moving in 3-0. They are ranked number 20. If they keep winning out here, you're going to see Iowa State itch real close to top 10.
Hmm. I think
Especially
they
if they
can do
make
it, which it's unfortunate, but
hey, we predicted that. That's what we saw
we
with the
did.
schedule this year. Iowa and Iowa State both had a chance. I would say a little more favor in Iowa State's weaker schedule with more beatable teams. The lack of the Big 12 depth right now, but here they are. Their biggest game each was each other. Iowa State capped it off. They got the bye week rest. Iowa State's they're right where they want to be, and they should feel on the top of this could potentially be the best season in Iowa State football history. All they do is got to get the 9 to 10 wins.
Got to do it. Got to do it.
And
You got to win those games until I forget who it is, Utah and somebody else. No, maybe not Utah. They played 2 ranked opponents at the end of the season. I don't remember who that is.
yeah, maybe they play Houston. Houston's number 13.
Houston's coming up soon. That might even be next week.
Houston's number 13, if I saw that right.
Let's take a look here. Yeah. Either way, they gotta win. So they play. Let's see here. I got the games pulled up. 21. Oh my god, I'm all the way back in 2021. Arkansas State, Houston. It doesn't show Houston ranked here.
Wait, what the hell am I
Baylor's.
seeing then?
I'm not sure.
I was gonna say, I
I'm.
swear to God, I saw Houston's ranked number 13. I'm like, that's not right. I thought they were terrible.
Yeah, I don't think they're
I don't
great.
know. Maybe I saw like girls volleyball or something. I saw that. I don't know where I saw number 13 today. So completely ignore everything I just said.
Probably is
Houston.
volleyball. So those last two games are Utah and Kansas State, and as of right now, those are the only two ranked games. So
Okay.
if you take care of Houston, Baylor, West Virginia, UCF, those aren't walkover games, but those are games I think that this year
They
they
could
can
be a
go in
little
and think they're
trap.
going to win.
Could be a little
Mhm.
trap games, but Iowa State's probably gonna be favored in every single one of them. But
Yep.
Bryce, and for everyone to keep listening, whatever we were about to tell you for our lock bets of the week, you should probably do the opposite. I don't even know if
Yeah,
you won one last week.
you only won one.
I don't know if I won one.
I won one, and that
I
was
can't
I
remember
think
what I
Miami,
picked.
Florida covering on Ball State, which was like, yeah, they should cover that one. Like I said, Wisconsin did not even get close to covering,
Nope.
and then I think I had Iowa as my other one that was probably started at like 21 and a half and it only ended up being 17. But last thing before lock bets, did you watch any of the UNI Nebraska game?
I did. I thought this. I had you and I covering, and I had them covering 31. They got beat by
I did too.
31,
It
and
was just a push
they
bracket.
had it. They could have. They could have kicked the field goal at the very end when they're down the red zone, but they ran a stupid ass jet sweep to the outside and they go out of the stay in bounds wherever it was to run out the clock.
A 4th and goal sweep from the
Uh,
10-yard line is insanity. I couldn't believe that was the shot that they took.
I'm fine if you're gonna go for it. Just fucking throw it in the end zone. Don't do
Yeah.
some stupid ass jet sweep. I thought you and I looked way better than what the score depicted. Actually, they had a
Yeah, they did look
10-minute
fine.
drive on Nebraska to open up the game that ended in 3 points for them. That was the only scoring drive of the game. But the more I watch Nebraska, the more I'm a little nervous about them. Dylan
I'm a little bit
Raiola
nervous.
looking more like Patrick Mahomes every single day, physically, facial wise, and game wise.
Yeah, his preparation coming out of the tunnel, everything about him is kind of Mahomey. Um, I my only sound off for the UNI Nebraska game is that it felt like Nebraska had home field advantage. Like every single 50-50 call on an official review or
Yeah,
a penalty
everything.
thrown, it just felt like it was all going to go against the Panthers. And yeah, like they were never going to win that game. But I mean, I
No,
hadn't watched a lot of UNI before that, but
it
still
should have
kind of
been an
pisses you off.
easy 31-point cover.
Mhm.
That's the most frustrating part. Yeah, no, I thought their offense looked poised. Is the kind of drive they got a couple first downs almost every single possession, and then they just kind of couldn't quite punch it into enemy territory when they had to punt. But credit to the
Yeah.
Panthers, I'll be watching them play against Hawaii for sure this
Yeah,
upcoming
yeah,
week.
that'll be fun. I think that they probably have a good chance of
Yep. When I
beating some
lose
teams
every
this year.
single bet Saturday, I'll fall on the Hawaii UNI game at 12 o'clock at midnight to make all my money back.
Love that. It was weird watching games on Mountain Time.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it
With that
was.
being said, I'm rolling right into lock bet of the week number one. Nebraska -3 over Illinois. Ranked opponent Illinois. I like what I see out of Nebraska. They're kind of scary. Like you said, Raiola is looking more and more like Mahomes, and that Black Friday night game is going to be tough for the Hawks.
For oh yeah, I think Iowa. But so my lock bet of the week is Illinois +9. So where'd you get this 3 at?
Alt spread.
Yeah, because it's -9 right now. Nebraska. Okay, gotcha.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. If it's 3, give me Nebraska. But right now, give me Illinois to maybe cover 9.
The straight up line, I think that's probably fair. Do you remember if Nebraska's home or not for that game?
It's home field. Another night game on a Friday night.
See, that's where
That's the
they're probably
third
giving
night
them that home
game.
field advantage, right?
That's the third night game in a row for Nebraska. I mean, they're
They're
doing
addicted
absolutely
to that.
everything they're doing everything they can to get their team to 4-0, and I respect it.
Yeah,
Good for them. That's how you got
they
to do
love
it.
that light show, don't they?
Uh-huh. Yeah, so I don't know. I could very well see Nebraska putting these suckers away too at the same time, but give Illinois a little credit. Beating
Yeah.
Kansas, Illinois ranked for the first time in God knows how long, number 24 right now.
Yeah, I'm giving them a little credit. I should have said that. I'm alt spreading Nebraska. I think it ends up being close, and they pull away right at the end, maybe a field goal to win it.
All right, I'll snake us back with Miami, Ohio, covering 27 versus Notre Dame. Notre Dame came out pissed off after losing to Northern Illinois, and they were 7-point favorites versus Purdue, and I think they beat Purdue by 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think they're a little overhyped. Miami, Ohio has a top 20 defense in NCAA football. So give me them. Give me the Red Hawks. People
I
call them the Spread Hawks.
I like that. I think that one of the best things, or one of my favorite things about sports Twitter, is that when Notre Dame starts to suck, everyone jumps on the Notre Dame sucks bandwagon. And I think the players heard it and they rebounded. But I like that bet. I think that's fun. I don't think Notre Dame's quite what they think they are. Number 2 bet of the week. I'm going to go with Michigan +6 hosting USC.
Ooh.
Yep. I think that we've kind of shit on
Dude,
Michigan a little bit.
we have to do some shit. Rightfully so, though.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I do know about USC, they always have offense, but it looks like they might have some defense over there
Mm-hmm.
in Los Angeles, which could be a little scary with Lincoln Riley's squad. If they learn how to play defense, that's a playoff contender for sure.
Oh man, last year if they had a defense, that's probably a championship team with
Uh-huh.
Caleb Williams. But yeah, they're hosting. That helps a lot. You don't
It's
just
their
walk into the
first
big house and
right. It's their first game is being welcomed to the big house in the Big Ten, so it could be a little too much for them. We'll see.
we'll see. I think eventually Michigan kind of figures it out. I don't think they're obviously nearly as good as last year, but I feel good about the +6.
Give me Oklahoma State. They cover 2.5 versus Houston. This is where I saw it. I saw Oklahoma. Yeah, that's why I thought I saw it. Let me look up this again. I'm like, there's no way. Okay. Oh, okay. No, it's Oklahoma versus Utah, number 12.
Yep. They're ranked.
The
They're ranked
the
opponent.
logos look very similar. Oh my god, they're the same logo. Utah and
Yeah,
Houston
they're
have the
almost
exact
exactly
same
the
logo.
same.
That's why I thought. Okay. Okay, you know what? I don't like that bet. I'm gonna now that I know that it's Utah, give me Utah. But
Okay.
I do Cam Rising,
I was just
star
gonna say
quarterback
that.
might be out though. If he's
Yeah.
out, give me Oklahoma State. If he's in, give me Utah plus money.
Yeah, that's the only thing. I was talking to some of the locals out in Salt Lake, and they're a little worried about Cam. For that reason, I'd probably go the other way. But I don't know a lot about honestly
I tried looking
either of
at it.
those
I think it's
teams.
just a throwing hand injury. So it's not going to be a season-ending injury. It could be a week injury. I didn't find too much detail about it.
Last bet of the week: Oklahoma +7 hosting Tennessee. I don't know a lot about either of those teams. I haven't watched a lot of SEC football yet this year, but feels like
Oklahoma,
what about Oklahoma?
they've looked good. The only
Okay,
thing I know about Tennessee is that they ruined my trip to Orlando last year. And they
yeah,
had that 5-star quarterback that they paid like $1 million for. That's freaking good. So I haven't watched too much SEC football other than Alabama absolutely stomped the living shit out of Wisconsin.
yeah. The SEC still got it. It's just crazy how Alabama can reproduce a team like that after losing Nick Saban. That culture
Uh,
is going to run so deep. Cool. I think we might win some bets. I went 1 for 3 last week. It sounds like you didn't have a great time either.
nope, I
Let's
lost.
win this week.
Let's do it. All right, we're gonna get to our segment this week. We're gonna be ranking our top 7 town festival celebrations in Iowa. But before I want to introduce you, Frank, I got him at Menards yesterday. Look what he does. What,
I love Frank.
what's he doing with that arm, Bryce? Why is only one arm moving? Madison says that his left arm's broke, but or
No,
did they design him like this?
I think that was by design. I think Frank's kind of a. I think we know exactly what Frank's doing there. What a
You can
pickup,
see him
man!
out.
That's a great pickup for Halloween.
Madison hates it. She says he needs to go down to the basement. If he had both arms active, he would be upstairs. So you might be seeing Frank down in the basement.
I wouldn't even be upset if you had Frank sleep with you. That guy's awesome.
All right. Go ahead, hit us with number 7. Let's get this bad boy rolling.
Number 7, Hobo Days in Britt, Iowa.
What do you know about hobo days?
I know absolutely nothing. I've just driven through on the highway, and thought that that would be one of my favorite things to ever attend.
I've heard a lot of good thing about Hobo Days. Bryce, you might be seeing Hobo Days come up on my list at some point in here. For then, I'm gonna save some of my details. Bryce, give me number 7, Trek Fest in Riverside, Iowa. You ever heard of it?
No, I haven't.
Trek Fest is a celebration of the future birthplace of Star Trek's Captain James T. Kirk, the
Mm,
lead character of the franchise original. It's I looked at pictures, everywhere just dress up like a big Star Trek character, and they just ride a bunch of floats, and I think they get drunk.
that sounds like the nerdiest, maybe most fun festival ever.
Uh huh. Almost a shame I have him at number 7, but only just because I found out about it.
Dude, it's so funny. I love looking at those like videos of like Comic Con or like when there's like a Star Wars convention. It's
Oh,
just
dude, they go all out on the freaking outfits.
they
That's what
do.
they do at Trek Fest. So credit to them. I didn't know it was a thing, but that's cool. Glad the state of Iowa can own that one. I'll snake us back with number 6. Give me the National Balloon Classic
Oh my
of
gosh, Indianola.
Indianola.
That's
Of
what I got at
Indianola.
number 6 too.
So it's okay. Good minds think alike, as always. We're usually pretty accurate on this when it comes to these segments. So when I first found out about the National Balloon Classic was my old former college roommate Kale Render, and he was obsessed with balloons. And I'm like, Kale, I wouldn't be going around telling people that you're going to these balloon things and hot air balloon things. He used to fly down to New Mexico for them and all that stuff. But the more older I got, the more I fucking love it. So shout out to the National Balloon Classic. I would love to ride on a hot air balloon sometime.
Love it. Yeah, it wasn't too far away from us in Pella. And actually, Pella does something along Lake Red Rock, Des Moines River, with a little balloon action as well. And it's always kind of cool to see those balloons go up together.
How
Never
did they not?
attended. It seems like a lot of fun.
I feel like they got to collide, don't they?
Yeah, they don't ever
How the
really
hell
get
do you?
that close. But yeah,
Yeah, I
I
guess.
would think that every once in a while, like on windy days, I know that the Pella one gets
Right.
canceled.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Hmm.
So how the hell do you control those things in midair?
But for the most part, yeah, they just kind of go straight up and seems safe enough. It's not something I would necessarily want to ride in, but I would definitely go to the festival.
All right, you can follow us back with your number 5.
My number 5 is Scandinavian Days in Story City. Um, Never been to this one either, but a lot of Norsemen up there, upper Northern Europe traditions up there. Looks like a lot of fun. Anything Viking related is always cool, and I'm a
And
Vikings fan, so a little biased there, but just looks like a lot of fun.
where was that at?
Story City.
Story City. Bryce, number 5. I'm bringing back to your hometown. Give me the Tulip Festival.
Yeah.
There used to be a couple things I hated in the world. I hate the state fair, and I hated the Tulip Fest more than
Hmm.
anything in my life. But I think
Yeah.
I went in there with the wrong mindset. The more YouTube videos I watched in the Tulip Festival, I think I go in there for open minded and have a good time, eat some good food, and just chill with the people and go to the old peanut bar, wherever that bar is called.
You bet. I got Tulip Time on here a little bit later as well. I think the more you mature, you get older, and appreciate flowers and
Yep.
trinkets and fried food, you can really get behind a Tulip Time.
Number 4, give me the Winter Games of Okoboji.
Yeah. Oh, hey, love that. Didn't expect to see that on this list.
Have you ever been to the Winter Games?
Never been. Never been.
I've never
We,
been either.
we were just in Boji in the middle of August, about a month ago, and it's something that everybody says you got to attend one time.
Uh-huh. Mass has been there. She says it's absolutely awesome. I know people that will do everything in their life to make sure they do not miss Winter Games.
Yeah, I definitely want to go. I know that's something that a lot of people have said Iowa Chill needs to be a part of. It just seems like one of those like, if you're in the area, you go. At that time you're coming off of Thanksgiving, Christmas, you're a month out of New Year's, and I'm just like, just seems like a lot driving 3.5 hours from Des Moines, but
Yeah,
it might be worth it.
at that time I almost want to accept my seasonal depression
Yep.
and just refuse to be happy.
Right.
So
I
I
don't
could
want to
be
have a good time right in the
I
middle of
want to be
January.
happy when spring comes back up in mid-April, May, and then
Number 4, I think. I don't even remember where I'm
yeah, I
at.
just gave you 4. So you're a 4.
Iowa Irish Fest in Waterloo. Now, I know you're in the Cedar Falls area. This might be something you can attend next year. I believe it happens in early August, but great time. Anybody with any Irish branded something is going to be lots of Jameson, lots of beer, and it's always going to be a good time.
Good people. All the Irish people like to have a good time, and they like to have a good time with you.
Sure do.
Number 3, give me Sturgis Falls. Oh, baby. I
We have
hated Fountain.
we have a very
Yeah.
similar list.
Is number 3 Sturgis Falls for you, Bryce?
It's number 2. So I went
Okay.
Pella Tulip Time number 1, Sturgis Falls number 2.
Okay. Yeah, we love Sturgis Falls. Incredibly biased about it, but yeah, we always set up a little tent there every year. We love the same band that comes every freaking time. 16 Candles. I'm kind of sick of them, to be honest. I kind of just noticed this year they did the same dance, same routine, same
Mm-hmm.
song, and
They
everything. So
didn't almost change anything.
no, they didn't change the damn thing this year. So I wouldn't mind having a year off from them. But shout out to Sturgis Falls, Dan. Our Mayor Danny Loddick got things running in Cedar Falls pretty smooth. Keep that thing bumping up, and man, it's alive. You go downtown after the concert, swamped with people.
Yeah, I'll just skip ahead to my number 2 and talk about Sturgis. Like, it's one of those things that feels like the town's almost outgrown it, but they keep it alive, and I really like that. Like, it doesn't, you never feel overcrowded. I guess maybe they just do a good job of spreading everything out, but um, you
And they
know
do.
exactly what you're going to get every single year. They're going to bring in a couple decent cover bands. They might play the exact same songs that you saw the year before, but it just brings that classic rock vibe. Um, just you will never see somebody frowning at Sturgis Falls.
Number 2, give me St. Patrick's Irish Celebration in Emmitsburg, Iowa. Growing up in Algona, that's all you ever heard about. Is there's a bunch of Irish going on in Emmitsburg. Uh, and like you said, bro, when the Irish come to town to party, you best drink up and get ready to celebrate your ass off for the day because it is a celebration. It is a festival. So shout out to Emmitsburg, Iowa. One of the best Irish parties in the state of Iowa.
As we said, anything Irish is going to be a blast. At number 2, I'm going to go away from the Irish and go with the German Fest up in Gutenberg. So, never been, but I had a roommate from Gutenberg my freshman year of college, Chris Eady, and a couple of friends that have been up to that area. And it sounds like a lot like Decorah, one of those river towns, lots of trees, beautiful scenery. Eastern Iowa is just kind of undefeated. So I would go to the German fest just because I have German heritage, and Gutenberg sounds like a lot of cool scenery.
Bryce, I'm going to cap this list off with my number 1, Hobo Days, solely because of the name. So I didn't even think about it, but my top 2 were sandwiches of Laguna. So I got 20 minutes west for Irish, got 20 minutes east for Brit. So if you're in Laguna, you got the 2 best parties in the state happening right next to you, baby. And I don't know a whole lot about Hobo Days. I just know they have the best sign in the state, and it's not close. So I'm trying to read here. I think since 1900, the city of Britt has been hosting National Hobo Convention. So this has been going on for well over a century. To sit there
Sweet.
with pride and let the hobos come near town and have a goddamn good time. Sign
Does
me
that
up.
what does that website say about some of the attractions? Like, what do you do when you go to Hobo Days?
I think it's just like a Founders Day. I'm sure they have like a band, and hopefully they don't have too many hobos walking around. Otherwise, it might ruin the experience a little
Right?
bit.
Is there
You
like
can
an
have,
outfit or?
yeah, I don't know if you're dressing up or if they literally have hobos just come to their town and just party. I got no idea. I just know it's in 325 days, 4 hours, 9 minutes, and 34 seconds. The next hobo.
Love that. Yeah, one of these days I'll go. I've seen the sign a few times, and it seems like a lot of fun. My
I,
my number 1, also has outfits. The Pella Tulip Festival. Very biased. Grew up in Pella. When I moved to Pella in 4th grade, I was 10 years old and about a month and a half outside of Tulip Time. So you're kind of just getting your feet underneath of you, going to school, trying to meet new people. And within a month and a half, I'm wearing wooden shoes and a Dutch outfit, and I couldn't have gotten out of there faster. It was the worst. Nothing worse than when you're that age and have to wear a costume you don't want to wear.
mm-hmm.
But I grew up. I love it. I love the tradition. I love anything that helps the town, especially a smaller town, thrive. And that's what Tulip Time does. And
God, how
yeah,
many people a year does it bring in? Isn't it some ridiculous number?
I want to say around 100,000. I know that there's like 700,000 tulips scattered through
Okay.
town, and
700,000 of them?
yeah, yep,
Jesus. And don't
and
they
all the
just die within a couple weeks?
yeah, they're only in bloom for a couple of weeks, so just
That's
depending
sad.
on rain and sun and everything, you might not even see them on the actual festival. But yeah, tons of flowers. It's gotten better too. The older I got, I'm like, okay, if I can have a couple drinks and then go get some fried food and, run into some old classmates, it turns out to be a pretty good time.
Okay, well, there you have it, folks. There's our top 7, the best festivals and celebrations in the state of Iowa. I'm sure we miss a whole lot of them out there.
Tons.
And
Nate, can I be
man,
honest with you?
what's up?
I forgot to make a list.
You went right at the top of your head.
I just went off my dome.
That's why we rank these things. Sometimes, like the hobo days, the less I know, the better.
Right.
I don't really want to know what's going on there. I just like the name.
You sent me the list of things that we were going to talk about a couple days ago, and I'm like, oh yeah, hobo days, Pella Tulip time, Irish Fest. I just thought of the few, and then I had to look up a couple, obviously. So I apologize for not having a prepared list, but honestly, going off the top of your head and just going off memories, like what stuck out, kind of sometimes is more.
And
authentic.
that's how it should be sometimes. You want to know, you want ones that come straight to your head, not even have to second guess. Like, yeah, that is belonging and deserving to be on this list.
100%. What else we got?
I got a goodbye dance from Frank here. He's my emotional support buddy after I just got violated for my allergy shots about 2 hours ago. I take, God, how much shots I do? 8 shots a day, 8 shots every Monday. I don't like it.
You're in the thick of it. And it sounds like in 3 or 4 years, you'll have those things figured out. God, he's so good. He's so cool. Hey, are we doing a Halloween costume? Are we leaking that information?
We're not going to do a specific Halloween costumes. So do your own one this year. Just because the reason I didn't want to do it this year is because of the controversy with the Iowa game coming up with the Northwestern that day. So I'm like, if I can fully commit to the Halloween part right now, yeah, let's all do it. But I juggle between it. So it is Iowa landed on a bad game this year. So we're going to be partying on a Friday this year, which is
pumped for it. I was actually more so asking, are we going to do like a Halloween themed pod?
Oh yeah, I'll be dressed up.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I got to think of mine still. So if you got any ideas for us,
oh yeah,
Darian, my fiance, which is still crazy to say, has talked about being Lord Farquaad.
Yeah, I love that. Halloween's my favorite month, or my favorite holiday of the year. So I can't wait. I got a couple outfits out there. I always get in trouble with them because they're solely based on what I want to do, and they don't think about your specific significant other. So I gotta try and think something for her. She was Toad last year. Look at this. Hold on.
Yeah. The toughest thing about having a significant other is that you kind of have to do the couple's costume. Otherwise, it seems like you're leaving people out. Oh, wow. Look at that thing. For the viewers at home.
Look at this.
That is so cool.
Look at this thing.
Why do I not remember her doing that?
She did it for her work, but when kids were coming to hand out candy this year, this is what I was wearing. And she has a little vest with it and stuff. It looks bad. It looks like something I'm not going to say, but
yeah, that's probably going to be the thumbnail of this video.
Folks, we're so close to Halloween. Thanks for joining us on this episode. Frankie's saying goodbye.
All right. Talk to you next week.